The Detroit area is rich in ethnic and religious diversity. But what could be a great strength for the region has often been viewed as a weakness. Detroit 2020 spent several weeks looking at race and how it has shaped our community. Its appearance may be bright and welcoming, but its history is dark and shameful. This wall near 8 Mile in Wyoming was designed to keep people apart.
It was built to separate the white from the black.
But today, the concrete structure provides a backdrop for Burdette Rochelle's garden. He has lived with the wall for decades. He knows its past, but accepts it as part of the present.
Didn't bother me one way or the other. I didn't care. But I like the wall.
So if neighbors can embrace this symbol of racial division, does that mean race relations are improving? That's one of the questions we try to answer in our Detroit 2020 reports.
Caucasian? I'm African American.
We decided to start with the basics. What exactly is race? Wayne State anthropologist Dr. Jacqueline Harden says, biologically, we are all the same race.
It doesn't exist in a biological, scientific sense because race technically means species.
I'm human. How about that?
But we still use race to separate us. Some say the separate SMART and D-Dot bus systems are an example.
One of the underlying issues is always going to be the issue of race.
We looked at the Chaldean American community in Detroit.
Chaldeans are from the Arab world but are not Arabs, and what defines Chaldeans is their language. Chaldeans speak Aramaic.
And we talked to our Arab American neighbors.
What we're trying to do is to dispel stereotypes about our community, trying to preserve its history, and involve the community in telling its story.
There was advice about explaining race to children.
They can be any color, so I guess really doesn't really matter what color you are.
Our mission here today is to sit there and take people with varying different opinions about Detroit and the suburbs and show them around.
And we found 13 suburbanites who seldom, if ever, went into the city of Detroit.
It's not someplace I want to take my kids.
We left the area because of the crime rates in Wayne County.
We took them on a bus tour to give them a better sense of what they had been missing.
Didn't know any of that was going on.
By the end of the 3-hour excursion, attitudes had changed.
It's definitely making an impression, a good impression.
I have a different perspective of the city.
6 people spend 60 minutes in a conversation for change.
Let's get started by introducing tonight's guests.
And finally, we invited representatives of different religious and ethnic groups to join us in a conversation for change. At the end of it all, one thing our panel agreed on: this was just a start.
When Detroit 2020 put out a call to action this past year, you certainly responded. We called one event a bust up, the other a build up.
Yeah, hundreds of people were unified, inspired, and they acted. WXYZ's Back Channel Twitter family joined me in a fight to bust blight on the west side of Detroit. An abandoned general store was torn down, and volunteers helped toss away remains of a burned-out eyesore.
Feeling this intense energy that's been, exploding lately. It's great.
From the bust up to the build up. Detroit 2020 teamed up with Habitat for Humanity Detroit to build walls for Habitat homes on the east side.
This is my way of coming out and trying to give back because I know what it's like to struggle.
Overall, 125 people, including students from Wayne State, joined Alicia Smith and members of the WXYZ team, picked up hammers, and built the walls.
Detroit 2020 is about unifying people, inspiring people, and getting people to act, and this is the ultimate form of action.
Economic problems have been at the heart of many of the region's challenges, and Detroit's financial crisis has derailed plans for the M1 rail project. Phase 1 was to go from downtown to the New Center area, and Phase 2 would have extended the rail all the way to 8 Mile. A rapid regional bus system may get rolling instead.
What are the stories that touched each of us the most and inspired us to take action?
Even we were surprised at the results. We'll share them with you when we come right back. Welcome back. You know, we're taking a look at a year into the future of the city of Detroit. You know, we launched the Detroit 2020 initiative just about a year ago, and boy, what a difference a year can make.
I absolutely love everything about Detroit 2020, and I think people are really responding very well. Detroit 2020 Person of the Week in particular just means so much to me because I'm always out in the community and people are always saying, why don't you do good news stories? Well, to highlight a person who's doing so much in the community like Dolores Bennett, working to make sure children enjoy Christmas, I think they are our unsung heroes, and now Detroit 2020 has put a title to it, the Person of the Week. And I like that because they are working to improve our communities and our neighborhoods, and that's what we're all about.
Love it.
One of the stories I did was called Draytown, and it's really a story about first impressions. The story's about a young guy in Detroit. He's a rapper. You look at him, he's got the bling, he's got the flat-billed cap, and he's doing a rap. And you might be tempted to just move on past that. I invite people to take a closer look. First of all, the rap is about everything that's good in Detroit, from Ford to Faygo. And the rapper himself is also an interesting character. He's actually got a master's degree in education. He's working on his doctorate. His goal is to come back and be Detroit's superintendent of schools and really make a difference. So he's a metaphor for Detroit. You got to look past what you think you see and take that next look forward.
Amazing story.
A great story. I had the opportunity to focus on some financial literacy programs going on. I think that is so critical to the future of Detroit in 2020 and to our suburbs, to everywhere. You know, I often say we help our kids with homework, right? We help teach them how to read. Do we teach them money matters, so to speak? And this is what I profiled, a program that has taught over 25,000 Metro Detroit kids budgeting, debit cards, credit cards. What's the difference? A lot of kids don't know, you know? And a money camp that's held for kids, and the Junior Achievement Finance Park, where kids can get a budget and then have to buy a car and a house and see how much money. It's real life stuff that I just think kids have to learn. It's happening in our area, and it's so important to our future.
Wow, it can make such a difference. Well, one story that really touched my heart is when I got a chance to visit Focus Hope. I remember as a kid walking in Focus Hope walks. You remember that as well, Diana. And I met this gentleman who is getting training at Focus Hope, and he used to be a gangbanger in the city of Chicago. And he showed me a stab wound to his head and a gunshot wound to his chest and all of these horrible things that happened. But thankfully, after the training at Focus Hope, he's now a supervisor at an auto supply company. He's inspiring so many other people who hear his story. They want to act, they want to get training, they want to do better. So his story is just a remarkable story, and really what Detroit 2020 is all about.
A true inspiration.
He is an inspiration. So if you're wondering there, how can you become part of Detroit 2020? We're going to tell you how when we come right back.
We're a year into the future, and Detroit 2020 is just getting started.
And you know we can make a difference if we all work together. Let us know what you think are some of the biggest issues facing us.
Go to our website, Detroit2020.com. We're also on Facebook. You can like us there, and we're on Twitter.
We've also started honoring a Person of the Week every Friday. If you'd like to nominate someone who's working to make this a better place, Detroit2020.com is the place to go.
We thank you for being with us and invite you to join us on our mission to unify,
inspire,
and act.
From all of us at Detroit 2020, we look forward to working with you in 2012.